the scribe, she was laid in the clay, in a nameless wooden box where the light fades away. 2 centuries of secrets in silence she slept. 2 centuries of secrets in silence she slept. In the cold earth of stone where no records are kept.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Have you ever uncovered a secret so old that the gods themselves actually forgot about it?
Oh, that is quite the hook.
Right. But that is exactly what we're getting into today, because we are looking at the events of Session 12, Grave of the Witness Part 2.
Yes. And I know you, the listener, are probably eager for the details on the massive combat encounter that happened here.
Yeah, but we are actually going to bypass the tactical blow-by-blow of the fight today. We're not doing the initiative rolls or the hit points.
Exactly. Because the real meat of this session, the stuff that genuinely shifts the entire campaign, is the massive lore drops.
Completely. We're focusing entirely on the cosmic bureaucracy and the divine conspiracies hidden in the aftermath.
Which is really where the narrative steps up a level. You go from dealing with localized cults to suddenly confronting the administrative architecture of the universe.
So let's set the stage for you. It's a midnight stakeout. The party is entrenched in the cliffside cemetery.
Right, specifically in the fog-damp Tsar family plots.
Yeah, and it's just a miserable night. They're wedged among these crooked stones, waiting to ambush whoever has been digging up these centuries-old graves.
And the environmental storytelling there is just crucial. I mean, the physical discomfort really grounds the scene.
Oh, absolutely. Shane is watching the gate, Santal is perched on a slick roof, and Valessa has her imp, Quillbit, scouting in the fog. They are freezing.
And that gritty baseline reality makes the supernatural intrusion feel so much more jarring when it finally happens.
It really does. So it's roughly 1:30 in the morning, and through the thick fog, 3 hooded figures just pass through the gate.
But they aren't sneaking like normal grave robbers.
No, not at all. They have this shuffling, relentless gait, and they are completely silent. No wandering, no searching.
They just move in a perfectly straight line to one specific unmarked grave deep in the plot.
Exactly. And they just start digging. Oh, and Valessa gets a look through the fog. They have skeletal faces and glowing eyes under those tie-in robes.
Which immediately tells you they aren't looking for a grave, you know. They are executing a coordinate.
Right. And the moment the shovel hits a hollow wooden coffin, the leader just says, "Hold."
Now, before we talk about what happens next, let's look at their tactics. Because why use undead to dig up a grave?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Isn't that like hiring a burglar to rob their own house?
Well, you have to separate a skeleton from a person. To a Red Wizard of Thay, a skeleton is just heavy machinery.
Okay, that makes sense. It doesn't sleep or ask for a paycheck.
Exactly. And most importantly, it lacks curiosity. If you are unearthing a cosmic asset, you don't want a living mercenary getting curious and opening the box.
Right. A human would try to renegotiate their fee. A skeleton just waits for the next command line.
Plus, they don't leave a standard forensic footprint. They don't sweat or shed hair. They are the perfect silent tools for absolute operational security.
Well, their operational security definitely gets breached, because Van Freer drops into a barbarian fury and surges out of the fog.
Oh yeah, the party absolutely dismantles them.
Yeah, Siontal unleashes these devastating starlight blasts. The undead try to teleport and fire necrotic bolts, but they're just outmatched.
Oh, and when that last skeleton crumples to the dirt, something really interesting happens with their gear.
Yes, the lanterns. So the moment they die, all 3 of their brass bullseye lanterns just flicker and fade out at the exact same time,
Plunging the whole cemetery back into pitch darkness, which is such a cinematic transition from the combat to the puzzle.
It is. So they check the loot. They find 3 tie-in ritual daggers, all with +1 magic enchantments. So these aren't basic thralls.
Right, elite thralls with expensive gear. But the lanterns are the real anomaly here.
Yeah, let's unpack that. Because they open these lanterns and there's absolutely no oil inside. There's no wick.
Nothing combustible at all. Yet they were burning brightly right up until their masters were destroyed.
Wait, so how does that even work? Is it a closed-loop system or
Oh,
something?
essentially, yes. It's a beautiful piece of passive world building for tie-in magic. The flame isn't burning fuel, it's burning the animating magic of the skeletons.
Oh, wow. So the magic keeping the bones moving is also emitting the light.
Exactly. It operates on sympathetic linkage. The tool and the wielder are magically symbiotic. When the tether snaps, the flame snuffs out.
That is deeply eerie. They use the undead as literal batteries.
They really do. But the smoking gun is what Valessa finds in the leader's pocket.
All right, she pulls out this torn slip of paper, and it just has a single name written in ancient script. Lysandra.
Which forces the party to reevaluate everything. They are staring at a wooden coffin that the tie-in specifically targeted.
So they pry the thing open, and the coffin itself is heavily decomposed, just crumbling wood.
But inside, the woman lying there is perfectly preserved.
Yeah, zero decay whatsoever. She looks like she just laid down for a nap.
Notice the juxtaposition there. The container succumbed to time, but the contents completely defied it.
Right, which signals a level of magic way beyond normal embalming. This is absolute stasis.
And the party's reaction is just classic dark comedy. Because Valessa casually starts placing bets on what's happening.
Oh my gosh, yes. She literally says, money on strange mystery girl here who isn't actually dead or gentle repose spell.
She treats this profound magical anomaly like a carnival trick.
I mean, you kind of have to, right? As an adventurer, if you don't use sarcasm as armor, the cosmic horror would just break you.
Absolutely. It's a necessary psychological defense. But that armor gets tested real quick because the stasis is super fragile.
Yeah, Valessa is holding that torn slip of paper with the name Lysandra on it, and suddenly it just crumbles to dust in her fingers.
The magical trigger fire.
Exactly. And the woman in the coffin opens her eyes. No gasping, no zombie screaming. She just calmly sits up.
And the very first thing she does is cast prestidigitation to clean the grave dirt off her clothes.
Which is such a flex. Waking up from a centuries-long slumber and just instantly doing the laundry.
It tells you everything about her personality. Absolute composure, dignity, and profound sense of order.
She just expects her environment to be tidy. So she looks at these blood-spattered adventurers and introduces herself as Lysandra Mortain.
The chosen of Jurgal.
Right. And she talks like it's just standard administrative protocol. She died, was collected, and assumes there's just been a minor clerical error.
Which is where the existential shock comes in. Because Lysandra died in an era of strict divine order.
Yeah, the temporal whiplash is crazy. She thinks it's 1220 DR, and they have to tell her it's actually 1501 DR.
She has been in that rotting box for 281 years. Entire empires have fallen while she slept.
But the time jump isn't even the worst part, because they have to explain to this devoted cleric that her god, Jurgal, basically retired.
Right. The history of Jurgal is so fascinating. He was the ancient god of death, unimaginably powerful and profoundly bored.
He had a monopoly on the end of all things. And when Bane, Baal, and Merkul challenged him, he didn't fight them.
He welcomed them. He was exhausted by absolute authority, so they played a game of knuckle bones to divide up his power.
And they used Jurgal's own skeletal finger bones as the dice. It is the most macabre succession plan ever.
It really is. He just accepted a demotion to seneschal and faded into bureaucratic obscurity.
So Lysandra wakes up to find out her omnipotent boss gambled away the universe to 3 sociopaths.
And Valessa delivers this news with the blunt force of a sledgehammer.
Oh, I love this quote. She looks at this ancient cleric and says, "I don't think your bone daddy is around anymore to correct it."
It's brutally efficient, but it highlights the generational divide perfectly. Lysandra reveres the divine, while Valessa sees gods as fallible entities making huge mistakes.
Well, the situation gets even weirder when Lysandra tries to contact him.
Yeah.
Because right then, Seraphine Moonscale stumbles into the graveyard.
The paladin who gave them the quest, and she is heavily intoxicated.
Yeah, she's clutching a flask and just utterly bewildered to find a living woman climbing out of a grave.
It's a masterclass in tonal whiplash. You have this heavy existential dread punctured by a messy, drunk paladin.
Exactly. But Lysandra ignores her, kneels down, and prays to Jurgal. And against all odds, the retired god actually answers.
Which is highly irregular. Jurgal is a meticulous record keeper who observes with total apathy. He rarely intervenes.
So the fact that he answers means something is very, very broken.
Right. And he reveals that he didn't authorize her resurrection. The page bearing her name was physically stolen from his ledger.
And he has no idea when or how it happened, which, wait, let me push back on this.
Go ahead.
If a god's ledger can be stolen from, does that mean death is just an administrative registry with terrible security?
Well, in the Forgotten Realms, death isn't just biological, it's an intensely bureaucratic legal process.
So it's like someone sneaking into the royal archives and rewriting the deed to a kingdom.
That's a great analogy. The ledger of the dead is the binding registry of the afterlife. If you steal a name, you are exploiting a legal loophole in reality.
You essentially undie someone without the god's permission. That is terrifying.
And Jergal is so disturbed by this that he suspends Lysandra's eternal rest and deputizes her to investigate.
And he gives her this insane artifact. He manifests the Ledger of the Dead directly into her hands.
A massive, ornately bound tome that tracks every soul across infinite planes.
And I love this detail. It's arranged alphabetically in the common tongue, just because that's how Lysandra prefers to read it.
It shows that the ledger dynamically formats to its user. Jergal needs an auditor, so he provides the database in the most accessible format.
It's extreme pragmatism. So now they have a resurrected cleric holding the universe's database, and they need to figure out who hacked it.
Which points straight back to the Red Wizards of Tay.
Right. So the party takes Lysandra back to Eomain House to debrief.
And when they walk in, they find that Valessa's new imps have turned the library into an active war zone.
They built forts out of priceless books and are staging mock sieges. It is such a funny contrast.
You really need that exhalation in the narrative. It reminds you how deeply unorthodox this party is.
Harboring devils, squatting in a mansion, holding a cosmic ledger. It's chaos.
But once they find a quiet spot, Lysandra explains her mortal resume. She wasn't just a normal priestess.
No, she was a divine notary, a strictly neutral third-party witness for ironclad contracts.
She notarized infernal contracts between warlocks and patrons, and even mediated territorial disputes between devils and the hells.
Why devils need a human cleric to witness their paperwork? They're literal embodiments of evil.
Because devil society runs on predatory legalism.
Yeah.
Law is their religion. The whole blood war is about law versus chaos.
Oh, right. So contract is everything to them.
Exactly. But they don't trust each other, so they need an unbribable witness backed by a power no devil can challenge.
And Jergal is the god of dispassionate finality. His chosen seal makes a contract cosmically binding, no loopholes.
That's why the Tyans want her, because Thay's state religion is Bane, the god of tyranny.
Okay. The puzzle pieces are coming together. They don't just want a minion. They want to forge a massive infernal contract for Bane.
And they need the ultimate cosmic witness to notarize it so it can't be subverted.
But hold on, there's a flaw in that plan. If they want her to witness it, why wake her up fully? Doesn't that give her the agency to just say no?
Well, infernal law requires free will, however coerced it might be. A zombie has no agency, so it can't be a legal witness.
Okay, so they need her alive.
Yeah.
But how are they going to force her to sign?
We have to speculate. Maybe a precise Thyan mind control that subverts her will, but leaves enough cognitive function for legality.
Or what if it's a loophole based on her just being in the room?
Exactly. The physical proximity loophole. If they bind her in a magic circle while the ink dries, the cosmos might recognize her presence as tacit notarization.
Yeah, it is wild. They were trying to hack the legal code of the universe.
And the irony is, learning about this strict legalism accidentally hands the party a loophole of their own.
Yes, because this intersects with their massive guilt over Cicerox.
Right. Let's remind the listener about Cicerox.
Back in Avernus, they had this imp, which was actually the soul of an anxious scholar from Candlekeep.
And in a panic, Vakenfrir threw the imp out a window to a fiendish Arcanoloth to buy the party's escape.
It was a brutal split-second decision. They basically used her soul as currency, and they feel terrible about it.
So now they're sitting next to the woman holding the Ledger of the Dead, and they're like, can you look up our friend?
Yeah, but Lysandra establishes some ground rules. First, you can't add or remove names by coercion. The ink will just vanish.
And second, no one dies before their time. You are collected exactly when you are meant to be.
But then they hit the massive loophole. Lysandra looks up Cicerox in the C-section and finds absolutely nothing.
The name doesn't exist in the ledger, which confirms Cicerox was just a pen name.
Right. It's not her true given name. So Lysandra offers a deal based entirely in cosmic litigation.
If they can find her true mortal name and prove her death was caused by extraplanar interference.
Like being cheated by a fiendish contract.
Exactly. Then Lysandra can legally erase that name and void the death.
They are literally trying to litigate his soul out of damnation. That is amazing.
But to find the true name of an obscure scribe who died 20 years ago, they have to go to Candlekeep.
The biggest library in the world. To save a damned scholar, they have to do meticulous library research.
It is absolute poetic justice. They become archivists to save an archivist.
So they have to plan a massive road trip south. But before they leave Baldur's Gate, they have a week of downtime.
Which we love. You need that contrast between cosmic stakes and everyday chores.
Definitely. First, logistics. Shane and Cirrus head to the docks and meet with Riven, a ruthless shipping contact.
And Shane manages to negotiate a half-price fare. But there's a huge catch.
There's always a catch at the docks. Riven says they only get the discount if the party acts as the ship's official security.
Which practically guarantees a maritime combat encounter on the way.
Oh, 100%. Meanwhile, Valessa's doing some magical crafting at the estate.
And she spends 2 days and 200 gold to make a broom of flying, but with her specific aesthetic.
Right, she's a blade singer. She refuses to ride a broom, so she designs it to look like a giant hovering greatsword.
I love that. A magical, lethal-looking hoverboard. It's so vain, but so fitting.
And while she's doing that, Vague Frieur is out at the Elfsong Tavern, destroying her liver.
Drinking with Seraphine Moonscale, the paladin from the graveyard.
Yes. And while they're drinking everyone under the table, Seraphine has this realization.
This is so good.
She remembers that she explicitly wrote "no drunkards" on the quest flyers she used to hire them.
And she just mutters, I need to stop writing stuff sober. The absolute hypocrisy.
It's hilarious. And the next morning, Vague Frieur stumbles in with an epic hangover.
And she describes herself as Schrodinger's Vague Frieur.
Yes. She argues that as a tabaxi cat, until someone officially observes her, she is simultaneously alive and dead from the hangover.
Applying quantum mechanics to a tavern hangover is just peak D&D downtime.
It really is. But they also pick up a new side quest. Shane and Vague Frieur meet Neria Ashgrove at Sheris's Caress.
Neria is a tiefling druid, and she's dealing with a necromantic blight along the river.
The party agrees to help, but they tell her they have to go to Candlekeep first to save Cicerox, so they promise to meet in a week.
And the way this meeting ends is just spectacular.
Oh, it's so funny. Neria is deeply introverted and hates the city. So the second the deal is struck, she doesn't even say goodbye.
She literally wild shapes into a deer in the middle of the tavern and sprints out the door.
Just flees the city at top speed to avoid making small talk.
It's brilliant. And it reminds you that Baldur's Gate is full of weird people with their own priorities outside the main plot.
Yeah, that texture makes the cosmic stuff feel so much more earned. I mean, think about the scale of the shift here.
They walked into a foggy graveyard expecting standard thugs stealing jewelry.
And they walked out with a resurrected divine notary, a book that dictates the fate of all souls, and a legal strategy to save their friend from hell.
It completely recontextualizes their role. They are actively manipulating the administrative laws of reality now.
It's massive. And that actually brings me to a final sort of provocative thought for you to chew on.
Oh, let's hear it.
We talked a lot about the Ledger of the Dead today, and the key to saving Cicerox is that her pen name, the identity she chose and built her life around, isn't in the book.
Right. The ledger only recognizes her true, given mortal name.
Exactly. So if the ultimate, infallible ledger of the universe only recognizes the name you were born with and ignores everything you built.
That is a profound distinction between who you are born as and who you choose to be.
Yeah. What does that say about who the universe thinks we really are? Does the cosmos care at all about the person you created yourself to be?
Or does it only care about the original ink on the contract of your birth?
Right. Are we defined by our choices or just by our cosmic serial numbers?
That is a chilling thought. The bureaucracy of death strips away all the context of your life and just reduces you to a single data point.
It really does. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the cosmic paperwork of the Forgotten Realms.
Keep interrogating the lore, and remember, if you find a misplaced file in the universe, it might not be a clerical error.
It might just be a conspiracy. We will see you next time.
In the year of the scribe, she was laid in the clay, in a nameless wooden box where the light fades away. 2 centuries of secrets in silence she slept. 2 centuries of secrets in silence she slept. In the cold earth of stone, where no records are kept. Notary of stone, a witness of ink, where the heavens and abyssal pits start to sing. Neutral and ancient, the scribe must record the oath and the pact by the ledger's cold word. The slip turned to dust in a breath of the air. Breath of the air. Breath of the air. From a parchment of white to a gray empty stare, Lysandra awakens to Jurgel's dark door, with the ledger of names and the souls of the floor. Scribe the name, record the soul, Jurgel's us whole of all that's past. The final word is signed at last. Notary of stone, a witness of ink, the oath and the pact by the